Let's make something similar in Unreal Engine, shall we? Hey guys, let's get started by creating a new project and creating a basic damage system and a health bar in case you don't have one yet. If you do already have a health bar and damaging system set up in your project, then don't worry, because what we'll do later on should be pretty easy to integrate with your own system. Anyways, let's get started by opening up the engine. Let's go to Games, pick a third person template. Just leave this unchecked. I'm going for scalable quality. Well, I won't be using this project actually, but this is just for the tutorial. Tutorial 2. Let's create it. And open it up. Let's start by going to the third person character. Set of the third person folder, blueprints, then BP third person character. Then let's make two variables. Let's call the first one max health. Change it to a float. Then make another one and call it current health. Then compile it. Come over to max health and let's change the default value to 100. Alright, now that we have that done, let's go to content and make a new folder. Let's call this blueprints. Another new folder. Let's call it widgets. Open it up. And then let's make a user interface widget blueprint. Let's call it widget blueprint underscore health bar. Open it up. Now let's add in a canvas. Then look for a progress bar. Let's just scale it a little bit. Let's set the color to red. Make sure it is a variable up here, and let's name it health bar. Now let's go to the widgets graph and make a new function, and let's call it get%. Make sure it's not a pure function. Now let's cast to BP third person character. Make sure it's just third person character. Now for the object, we will do get owning player pawn. Make sure it's that one. Then as the BP third person character, let's go ahead and get our current health. And let's also get our max health. And then divide our current health by our max health. Then drag in the health bar and get it. And drag out of that and go set %. And then for the in %, drag in the divided amount. And then go like that. And then compile this. And then in the event graph, and let's make a custom event. And call it update health bar. And then drag in the get%. And let's compile it again. Now let's head over back to our third person character. And in the third person character, we're gonna go event, begin play. Then we're gonna go set current health. And then it's going to be max health. So just drag max health, hold control and hit it to make it go on that one. Then we're gonna go create widget and then make it the health bar we just made. Then go add to viewport. And then call the update health bar we just made, or drag out of here. And then connect it here. Alright, now when we play we should have a health bar on screen. We gotta compile first. Or we have an error because we have to connect this return value to the target. Alright, so we have the health bar now. Now that we have the health bar, we can go ahead and make a simple apply damage function. Or custom event. Now click on it and go to inputs and then change it to a float and let's call it damage amount. Get the current health and subtract it by the damage amount. Then go ahead and set our current health. Now compile your blueprint and then go keyboard events and pick a key. Then go pressed and apply damage and make sure you get the function we just made and not the other one that's in there. And then just call update health bar, or we'll have to drag out of here, update health bar, and connect it. And now make sure you put a damage amount here and then compile it. And then let's play. And now when we press B, it should take health off of our health bar. Just like that. Alright, so now we will have to set up some logic for respawning and for dying. So come over to your third person game mode this time, next to the third person character. Then come over to open full blueprint editor. Now in here, add a new event dispatcher and call it on player died. Then over here in the details panel, add a new input and call it character and make it a character. Make it a character object reference. Now right click and search for begin play. And then drag off here and do bind event on player died. Then drag off of the event and look for add a custom event. And then call this player died. Now drag off of here and call restart player, and then drag off of character and get controller, and then plug that into new player. Now go ahead and compile and save it. Now come back over to the third person character and let's make another custom event and call this kill player. Now out of here, drag disable input. Then play animation, which will be downloading in a minute here. Then cast to BP third person game mode. As the object, look for get game mode. Drag off of the as BP game mode, and then look for call on player died. And then the character, drag off a reference to self. Add in a 5-second delay. Then over here in this tab, come over to functions and make a new one and call it call restart player. Open it up, then come to the local variables, add a new one and call it controller ref, and then change it to a controller object reference. Then go ahead and drag that onto the call restart player execution node. Then drag off of this pin and then search for get controller from the pawn section. Then drag off the execution pin here and then look for destroy actor. Then cast to third person game mode. Then off the object pin to get game mode again. Then off of the as, look for restart player. And then drag the controller ref onto the new player. Go ahead and compile and save this. Now head on over back to the event graph. Let's move this up a little bit. Now make another custom event and call it respawn player. Then call respawn player, or call restart player. Then set current health and call in the max health so that we set our health to max when we respawn again. And then also call the update health bar, or I guess we could just drag into here. And then back here call the respawn player. Alright, now go ahead and compile that. And then go back over to our health bar. And then over here we do less than equal. And then add a branch. This is the condition. And then if this is less equal than 0, then we will call the kill player. So true, and then, oh, actually drag out of here and then look for kill player and then put it into the true. There we go, and then compile it. Alright, so all you really need now is a def animation to play. So download the one that I'll provide in the description. And then when you've downloaded that, just make a new folder called animations, one called def, and just import it. I'll delete it real quick to show you. Just import it. Look for the mannequin skeleton. Just only import the animations. Alright, now that you have it imported, go back to the blueprint and then select that animation. And now when we die, it should play the death animation like that. And then we should respawn. Well, it looks like it's not updating our health bar, so let's try to fix that. Alright, so a couple things I did to fix the health not being correct when we respawn. Come over here and add a new variable and call it health bar ref. And then for the variables pin type, do the widget blueprint health bar. And then drag that in on here and set it on the health bar widget. And then plug the return value in there. Still keep the return value in here. And then instead of plugging this return value in there, drag the health bar reference and plug it into this target. And also this target. So we're using a reference instead, because it was still using an old health bar. And then also add in a 0.01 second delay before we set and update the health bar. This way it works. Alright, so the death wall is pretty straightforward. Let's just go into the blueprints folder and make a new one and call this triggers. Open it up. Let's make a new blueprint class and go to all classes and then look for a trigger box. Just call it BP underscore death wall or something. Open it up, go to the event graph, and then on actor event begin overlap, do cast to third person character. The other actor is this object, and then as this kill the player. Compile it and save it. We still gotta add it to the level. Let's just add it on the player start to test it out. There we go. But it seems like our health isn't going down when it's happening. Let's try to figure that out. Well, and it is because over here we were only updating the health when we were applying the damage with this. So we will need to add this somewhere. I think we could just do this. And then set current health. And then set it to 0. And then do cast to health bar. And then for the object, I'm gonna do health bar reference. And then as health bar update health bar. I hope that works. What's this note? Oh, we don't need to cast to it. Alright. And the health updated there, but it didn't go down a second time. Let's just see if it's because we're maybe dying too fast. Let's move it a little bit in front. Yeah, it was just because we were dying too fast. Now it seems to be updating correctly. Nice. Alright, now let's try to add in the part where the camera stays up top whenever the player is falling, like in Dark Souls. Alright, I've kind of figured out a way to do it. So first of all, come to the camera boom and enable camera lag and set it to something like 5 and the max distance to like 74. This way when we play, the camera will like kind of lag behind, like in Dark Souls, and then whenever we fall down into a trigger volume or box, we will increase this volume by a lot. So here I'll start over again, make a custom event and call it something like camera lock, then drag in your camera boom, and let's do camera lag, set camera lag speed, and let's set it to something like 1, which makes it slower. And then we'll also do set camera lag max distance, and we'll set that to something crazy like 2000. Then do once, then we add in the timeline, then plug this in play from start, and let's open up the timeline, and then set this to something like 1.47, add a flow track, add a key, set both of these to 0, then add another key, set the time to 1.47, the value to 1, and then just compile this. Well, we can't compile it yet because we don't have a target for this. Alright, now it goes through. You could have called this just pitch, but it's fine to leave it like that. Then do get control rotation, then break the rotator, then make a rotator, and plug both the Z and the X into it, and put this at -90. Then right click and do get player controller. Out of that, set control rotation. Then out of here, add in a lerp. Plug this into the B, this into the A, enable shortest path, then plug the new track into the alpha here, and then the return value into here, and then from update into here. And then now compile this, and then I added a separate collision thing, but I guess we could just add one here. Let's do a box collision, and let's just call this the camera adjuster or something like that, and just make it about as big as the other one. But then let's place it a little bit above the kill barrier. Let's just do something like that for now. And then with the camera adjuster selected, come down here to on component begin overlap, and then we will do cast to third person character, and then for the other actor it will be the third person character, and then when it hits this we will basically just call the camera lock function we just made. This should work. It should have both of them on the thing now. Let me just move this one so we don't hit it. I guess we could place it a little bit lower to show you better. And then also in the def wall, I'll put the this one a little bit higher. I think that's too high. As you can see, the camera turns downwards towards the player and it starts lagging more whenever we fall down. You can make it lag even more, play around with the values, etc. Oh yeah, what I did here was I added a plane, and I made it hidden in game so that when my character hits the death barrier, he stops falling and just hits this, because I noticed that when the player dies, the camera lag just stops suddenly, and the camera will just fall down anyways at a faster speed. So by putting an invisible plane here, the character will hit that and then die, and the camera will still go down slowly towards the character, but it won't keep falling down. And also in the world settings, I had to put the kill Z at a lower value, because else our character was hitting the kill Z barrier in our level before it was hitting the our death barrier, and it was messing with our respawn. It wasn't respawning our character anymore. So make sure your kill Z is lower than the death barrier we just made. So let's also add a scaling falling damage function. Come down to your variables and let's make one called fall damage threshold. Change it to a float. Then make another one. Let's call it fall damage multiplier. Then compile it and change the threshold to like 1200. Let's change the multiplier to like 0.1 or something. I don't know, we can change it later. Alright, so I actually changed this to about like 200 just for testing. Then fall damage multiplier, let's put this to like 0.05 for testing for now. Then let's add in a custom event. And let's call this falling damage. And then let's do a branch. And then get velocity. Then break the structural pin. Out of the Z, let's do absolute float. Then let's do a greater than and compare it to our fall damage threshold. Plug this into the branch. Then we're gonna do this minus this one. Then let's do a clamp float and set the minimum to 0 and set the maximum to something like 9,999. Then let's multiply this by the falling damage multiplier. Then out of the branch here, we're just gonna go apply damage and do the one that we made, the function. Then into the damage amount, we'll plug the multiplied amount, and then we'll also add a print string so we can see how much damage it's doing. Then we have to come down to the applied damage here and change this to update health bar here instead of this key press thing that we were doing. Oh, I forgot something. We also have to add in an on-landed event and then add the falling damage event to it, and now it should work. There we go. And it's just printing hello for some reason. Oh, it's in the duration instead. Plug this into the string. And that was a little bit too harsh, so let's up it a little bit. Let's do a threshold of like 1,000. Maybe a multiplier of 0.1. That doesn't do any damage now, that's good. That did though, that's still a little bit harsh. So anyways, you get the idea. You can play around with it a little bit more. Alright, and now let's create a cool little death screen that plays whenever we die. Alright, so go over to user interface, widget blueprint, make a new user widget, just call it WBP death screen. Already made one to test it out. So I'll name mine different. First look for an overlay. Add that in. Then let's look for a scale box. Add that into the overlay. Then in the scale box, let's set it to fill on both of them. Then look for an image. Drag that into the scale box. Then for the image, also fill this vertically and horizontally. Then change it to black. Then look for a horizontal box. Add it to the overlay. Center align horizontally and fill on the other way around, like this. Then go ahead and look for some text and add that to the horizontal box. Then let's also center align these. Let's center align this as well. You can make the size a little bit bigger. Let's do something like that. And come over here in the bottom left and click on animations. And then click on the plus and then call it fade in. Then select the image, go to animations. Or select this and then go to add and add the image. Now click on track over here and color and opacity. Then set the opacity to 0 and add in a keyframe. Then go all the way to the end and set the opacity to 1. And then add in another key. And then I just realized that it still says text block. So let's change that. Let's change it to "you died." Alright. Now compile it. Save it. Then go to the event graph. Then event construct. We're gonna drag in the fade in, get it, and then play animation, and then connect this here, and then compile it, and then go to our third person character blueprint, and then do once. Create death screen widget, or create widget, and then select death screen. Then add to viewport. And then drag out of the return value here, and then behind the delay here, do remove from parent, and then after delay, remove the widget, And now we should have a def widget as well. Nice. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you learned something. This took me a really long time to do, so I hope you appreciate it. This is all the blueprint code that we've written. And some in the def wall and stuff, etc. Anyways, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.